I want to switch gears, though. I have to, because this is an amazing story. Susan Rice's son, John Rice Cameron, who, by the way, is a Republican, says he was assaulted by liberals at a pro-Kavanaugh rally. Joining us now, Tammy Bruce, Independent Women's Voice president. I was kind of shocked when I saw it. I was more saddened than shocked when I read the story, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that it's also making news because, of course, of who he is. This was a protest. He's actually the president of the Stanford Republican Club. So, of course, they're having a demonstration for Judge Kavanaugh. There were counter-protesters. And this young woman, she says, he was filming her in a public space. And there's video of her approaching him, allegedly, and pushing him on the chest and hitting him in that process. So he pressed charges. She has been arrested on battery. And this is the kind of thing, though, that we see in most of these demonstrations where there's counter-protesters. They're not kept apart. And, of course, for Stanford and for this young man, it's an opportunity. He has a high profile, and she's been arrested, and that's not always.
But doesn't it speak to a larger issue, particularly one underscored this week by comments by Eric Holder, comments by Hillary Clinton, promoting incivility, promoting violence? And listen, Eric Holder can say it was tongue-in-cheek and that it's fake news. The words came out of his mouth.
Yeah, that's my column today at the Washington Times, is this fueling, this endorsement of chaos and rage in very direct ways. Hillary Clinton saying, of course, that there's not going to be civility until they win again. And look, a lot of women are familiar with that kind of rhetoric. In other words, like if a batterer says to you, things will be better if you comply. If you do as I say, I won't hurt you anymore. Right. And now we're seeing that in a larger framework. And so it's not a coincidence that 2 days later, Eric Holder made his remark after Hillary's remarks. These are not lone wolves or out-of-place remarks. This is, I think, now strategy.
And this brings us, Tammy, to Michelle Obama, who actually responded to Eric Holder, who took her comments, "When we go low, we kick them." Listen to what she had to say.
Do you think it still stands when they go low?
Absolutely. Fear is not it's not a proper motivator. Hope wins out. And if you think about how you want your kids to be raised, how you want them to think about life and their opportunities, do you want them afraid of their neighbors? Do you want them angry? Do you want them vengeful?
You know, that's nice, and it's appropriate, and it's good, and she's got a profile, and she can say that. But what we need to see, especially with the context of what's happened in this country before the Kavanaugh hearings and afterwards, attempted mass murder, attacks with knives, the almost fatal injuries of Steve Scalise, envelopes with, the precursor to ricin and powder to Ted Cruz, chasing people out of restaurants. What we need is actual party leadership to join her.